This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Top of the morning to you, although we're not in London, England. There is a game on halftime in UK. Minnesota's leading 17-7 heading into halftime. I'm Crispy Bacon. Here with the Prime Moose, Tim. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, excited. We're already in week 5. It seems like only yesterday it was week 1.
Yeah.
It's if yesterday in college is any precursor to what's going to happen today should be a fun day.
It should be. Yesterday was pretty wild itself. I'm sure today in the NFL it's going to be pretty wild too. So what are your thoughts on this morning's first game of the day between Minnesota and New York Jets?
I thought this game was going to be a little closer because Aaron Rodgers knows how to play against the Jets, but like most people know, it's also a revenge game for Sam Darnold. I thought this game was going to be a little closer, but it's starting to get to that point. I think Aaron Rodgers is showing a little bit of rust, but that's what happens when you're 40 and you're still playing in the NFL.
Although if you're Brady, you're gone. I did it at 40 and I was okay.
Yeah, but Brady's a complete different monster.
Brady's Brady. Big B says, "What's up, Bacon?" And over easy, Tim. Over easy AIDS, Tim.
I'm good.
What's your age on Brett
Rodgers? It could be a little bit of both at this point.
Yeah, I would think so. Although I don't think he's played too many games in London either. So
no, because the last year was the first time Green Bay played in London, and he was already in New York playing injury.
Yeah, he was, and I think it's rust, age, and not used to playing in London.
Right.
And do we turn the yards into kilometers? I'm just curious.
No, still yards would still turn into meters.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Kilometers.
You'd be doing kilometers into miles into kilometers, and they're not going to put up that many yards yet. So
that's true. But yeah, this game's at halftime. Let's jump to Thursday. This past Thursday with the Buccaneers and Falcons. I think majority of us had Atlanta winning that game. It was a nail biter. Definitely a nail biter. Winning an overtime. Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay did not get the ball at all in overtime. Atlanta just took it down the field and scored. Surprising.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It was definitely surprising. It used to be the knock on Kirk Cousins was he couldn't play on in prime time, and then he turns around and throws the 509 yards. It shocked me because I picked in my little group. I picked the Buccaneers. I thought that game was going to be. I thought that the game was going to be close. I knew the game was going to be close. I just thought it was going to be Tampa pulling that trick and not so lucky.
Right. At this point, I'm thinking it's Minnesota playing prime time. Now that Kirk Cousins is away from Minnesota.
Well, we don't say that with Big B in the watching the show. I don't think we bring up that Minnesota could play prime time,
Well,
but we'll see soon enough.
I think they can. It's just that's kind of the consistency right now. I think.
Right.
Big B is also saying, is the NFL in the wrong not to get involved with Tua able to play or not? So should the NFL be able to say, Tua, you can play or not?
I in a way, I think they should, but they're waiting to see what I think they're waiting to see is what Miami's going to do. Hopefully, Miami does the right thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they get involved, but it's a lot like government, where the big government's supposed to stay out and let the states deal with what they're supposed to deal with. I think the commissioner's staying out of it and letting the teams deal with it, and then they go from there.
I think for an injury or a medical condition like that, I think they should, step in. I mean, they have the ability to step in during a game and say, "Hey, you can't come back." Like in the middle of the game, so maybe they should be able to. I don't know.
I think if they can stick, and you bring up a really good point, and I think this has been brought up on some other shows where the NFL can stick their nose in to make sure their well-being of the player is good. The NFL or the referees can see that. Then they should have the right to say about the well-being if he's prepared to play or not, if he's okay to play. Then yeah, and at that point you've pretty much written the law down. When you give the refs the clearance, you should be able to take the clearance just as much as they do. Do I agree if the NFL? I think everybody who's under concussion protocol should go. I think a very strict protocol. I think not only should he pass he passes the team protocol, but I think he should end up passing the NFL protocol. There should be an independent NFL protocol too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Adam has a question for you and your Colts. Agree or disagree? Feel like Joe Flacco is better?
I think, and this is. I think he's better because of him being he's already a proven winner, and the fact is that he's a veteran. Yeah, he's an older veteran, but you need that. I think he's got a better, more of a field general presence. He has won a Super Bowl with a team that was pretty much a defensive team. You saw what he did last year with Cleveland. I think with that team, the team was pretty much basically going to be floundering anyway, and then he takes them to the playoffs. I think Indy's in a good spot. I was happy when Indy went out and paid the $5 million for a 1-year contract on Flacco. It shocked me a little bit, but I was happy to see that because somebody needs to protect Anthony Richardson from himself. I think it puts him in a better position than having Gardner Minshew.
I was gonna say better than Gardner Minshew.
Mm-hmm. Easily better than Gardner Minshew.
There's just some quarterbacks that are better as backups than they are starters.
And you're looking at it, and your thing is you're looking at what Gardner Minshew is when he over in Las Vegas, so you know exactly what you've got.
Right. Adam also says he feels that Flacco is more accurate.
He is. He doesn't have the thing is between the difference between Flacco and Richardson is the fact is that Flacco is accurate. Yeah, Richardson's got a powerful arm, but if you're not accurate, a powerful arm is about as good as pissing in the wind.
Right. So Jared Allen and O.C. Germanura are being honored in London for being the first members of the London Ring of Honor ceremony.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Haven't heard those two names in a long time.
I haven't heard that name in a long, long time.
Yeah. Bigby asks, or says, I'm more worried that the Vikings can't play the second half of football than about primetime games. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. It's the thing is you're and when it comes to second half, it's all about adjustments. And if you're not going to make the adjustments, and the other team against you is, you're going to definitely be fighting every game. You're going to be fighting, and you're going to be looking at one possession games for the rest of the season.
That's right. BB also says, would have Flacco led the Colts to score instead of losing a 33-point lead in the to the Vikings?
Trying to figure out who was their quarterback that year. Was that Rivers? No, it was Matt Ryan. Oh, probably. No, it was Matt Ryan.
In his prime, or
it was Matt. Was it Flacco at that time? I think Matt was a little older than Flacco. No, I think that was. I have a feeling that was. I think that was the fact is that we didn't have Sirianni. And Eberflus. Eberflus is problem is Eberflus. That one that's still one that kind of kicks me in the face because that's something I'm glad we get a chance to revenge that game this year, but it's just the thing is even if they don't score, what they needed to do was put the ball in the running back's hands, and at that time I think we still had a serviceable back. If I'm still thinking Jonathan Taylor was there at the time. I can't remember. Was Taylor hurt? I think Taylor was hurt. Never mind. I don't know. We run the ball and just kill the time. I don't think Minnesota scores. We don't lose a 33-point lead if we run the ball like we should and run the ball in short passes, just piece it down the field. But that wasn't going to happen.
I mean, that was that was several years ago. It's kind of tricky to figure that out, I think. What is it? Revisionist history, I think.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago, and I just don't. That's going to be a great game to go up again to see because I really want to see how that's gonna fly.
Y'all hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
All right.
Holy smokes, you got a new setup.
No, this is my friend's setup in Los Angeles.
There you go.
I was thinking about like, man, I really want to get on the show, but I want to, not get on my phone, and this was perfect.
Looks good. So what's your thoughts on last week? We were talking a little bit about the Falcons Buccaneers game.
Oh, the Thursday night game. Yeah, that was unexpected. It was a fun Thursday night game, and that never happens. And that was just a scoring barrage. It was wonderful to see. I really enjoyed it. It just shows the Falcons. They play games pretty tough. They've played games close all year long when you think about it. The Bucks, they're pretty up and down, but hopefully finally his Cousins threw for 509 yards, but hopefully it's a thing where the Falcons can get closer to the Buccaneers and try to get that South Division, or maybe a wild card be good enough for that. I would love to see Atlanta progress. I mean, you give Cousins all that money, you give you use your first pick on another quarterback, and you have the owner wondering why. And by the way, the owner put himself in the Ring of Honor on Thursday too, Arthur Blank. So that was funny to think about.
Put himself in.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a great game. The running game's great for.
I'm electing myself into the Ring of Honor.
You have to think Jerry did that before. Did he do that already for the Cowboys? I was just thinking about that the other day.
I don't know.
I was thinking.
I know Robert Ursay isn't on the ring of the Jim's not in the ring. He's got that ego too.
Yeah, he does. That's true.
That is true. And then, have you seen any of the Vikings Jets games?
Oh yeah. I've been listening to the first part, and then I got the second quarter going. I saw that Van Ginkel had a pick six. That was awesome to see. And Rodgers is having a tough time getting the ball down the field. But finally, on the last drive, he threw for a touchdown. But it just seemed like it was just all these like 2-yard passes, 4-yard passes. I know he's 10 for 20. I was expecting a little something better. The offense for Vikings haven't been as pure as well. But yeah, I'm interested in the second half to see if the Jets can wake up or if they'll just fall and blame their coach. We'll see if that happens. But hey, I'm happy for Minnesota. I'm happy for Sam Darnold. Being 4-0, he's finally on a team that has weapons. So I love that. I love that part about it. It's awesome for him. He needed that.
He's not seeing ghosts anymore. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, second half is kicked off. 17-7 is your score. I don't think New York's used to playing in London. Neither is Rodgers. And Big B says he's going to put himself in the C2C Ring of Honor.
That'd be like J-Mac saying, Adam and J-Mac saying that we're going to go in the Ring of Honor.
Right. Anything else you guys want to add for this past week?
There was something I can't remember. I know we're up a creek without a paddle because we're starting Flacco and we're starting Trevor Sermon. So yeah, hey, that's fun.
Like we talked about earlier, Flacco's a good quarterback.
I was talking about the Trevor Sermon part, not the Trevor Sermon part, not the Joe Flacco part.
Oh.
Okay, James, I got a question. I got a question, James. You're since you're the Raiders fan, what's your thoughts on the Davante Adams deal?
There was a clue about his wanting out last year. There was a mic'd up segment on the sideline, and it was out there. He said, "Hey, I'm getting beat up so bleeping much. I got to get the bleep out of here." He literally said that, right?
Right.
So I thought, hey, he's going to one out after the year. His best friend, Derek Carr, isn't there, right? So you got to figure, okay, he's not going to want to be there anymore, But the Raiders decided to keep him anyway, and this is what happens. And then you have two quarterbacks that aren't worth anything, and he doesn't want to be there because his best friend, Aaron Rodgers, is struggling himself with the Jets, and you're seeing that right now. So you figure something is imminent, a trade is imminent, and last time I read that it was a 3rd round pick. I want to say that they can possibly get wherever Davante goes with these new trades. You're gonna have to add an extension to it, or go as long as Aaron Rodgers wants to play. So that might be a couple of years. Davante's in his final year of his contract, by the way. So that would be interesting to see how they go about that. But I expect him to be moved within the next 2 weeks and not be playing still. And that's just fitting because the Raiders come out here to play the Rams, and I was hoping to get tickets, but now I don't even want to go. I'm good. So yeah, I expect Adams to be gone, and it was a disaster from the start, pretty much, because Carr was on that 1 year deal if he could prove it or not, and Mark Davis didn't think he did, and right away Adams was there, left without without anyone.
Would you like
Uh,
to see? Would you like to see Adams to the Bears?
I don't think. No, I think he's gonna. I think what was it? The first two candidates. It was the
It's like
Jets, and I want to say
I'm going to say the Saints.
I was thinking the Saints too.
New Orleans with Carr. There
And I
was a
think
report of somebody else too, though.
I think he has a house in Dallas. So I think Cowboys were
I know Derrick
mentioned.
Henry does, and y'all should have signed him.
Yeah, but according
Uh,
to Jared, he was too rich for the wallet,
that
so
is stupid.
to
Yeah.
speak.
Oh, the Chiefs were a candidate as well, but I don't think the Raiders. Well, Raiders have
No,
made
the
them
Raiders.
decisions
The,
before.
the Raiders are going to ask a lot from the Chiefs just to get that pick, and it to be smart. And I wouldn't be sending him. I wouldn't be sending Devontae to the Chiefs either.
I would.
Would you
If I
ask
can
I
Taylor
get
would,
Swift?
but
a
I'd make him
round
pay
pick,
for it.
yeah,
Would you ask
I
Taylor
would.
Swift for a loan? I guess.
I'll take the money. Oh, look
Well,
at Devontae Adams as well. One thing, he put the Edgar Allan Poe, the Ravens and all that in Baltimore.
oh
So look
yeah,
out for that
Ravens.
too. There's a clue on Instagram.
I heard
Really?
something about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
which I didn't put two and two together originally, but yeah.
sometimes you gotta put three.
2 plus 2 equals fish. I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's been a crazy week of NFL football, and this week's gonna be more crazy. You guys ready for picks?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So we had the Falcons and the Buccaneers this past Thursday. 30 to 30 or 36-30 was your final. We got Minnesota and New York. I think. What was your pick, James, for Minnesota, New York?
Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
know
we're all
just
going
said
Minnesota. We're all going Minnesota here. And then I guess to kick off Sunday, you have the from ESPN the Bears hosting Carolina. I think this is gonna be an easy game to pick. But James, who do you got?
Man, this is another Andy Dalton revenge game. Remember, he, I think at first started for Justin Fields back in 21, and then, or I think it was 21, and then he lost his job to Fields and eventually went on. But I think the Bears, the defense will get it done. Caleb Williams, again, he's thrown for what, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks. He doesn't have to do much at all. He just has to be a game manager. I mean, sure, he could do stuff with his feet, but protect the damn ball. That'd be great. So I'm going to go with Chicago, but I think it'll be a close game. I think the defenses will be good for both. I want to see the main matchup, or the main focus in that game, I think, would be Hubbard against that Bears defense. The running game has been really good with the Panthers lately, but I know you guys have probably talked about him on the fantasy show, where Hubbard, he's not really picked up by many, but he should be.
I've got him.
Yeah, everybody did now. So I want to see that matchup against Chicago, and I want to see if they blitz Dalton. So I'm gonna go Bears, but only by a little bit.
Tim?
Yeah, I've got the Bears too. I think this is going to, like you said, I think it's going to be a close game because Dalton is fine and is Deontay Johnson. I think, Caleb Williams, after finally scoring his first touchdown, is finally, I think, kind of woke up a little bit more. I think it's going to be a close game. I think I think Carolina's coming into Chicago, and Chicago is going to thank them for all the picks that they gave them by beating them. I've got, like I said, I've got Chicago, but I think this is going to be closer than a lot of people think. I don't think they cover. I really don't think they cover. This may be a field goal game.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Ooh, that should be a good game if it's just a field goal game. Yeah, it's a revenge game. Although I don't know if you want to call it a revenge game because
By the way, the weather isn't that bad either.
he
Not yet. I want to
attempted
see when it gets November, December for Caleb
in
Williams and
Chicago.
January. I want to see that in Chicago. It's only 73 today.
Yeah,
You got lucky.
it's a nice day in Chicago.
Yeah.
I got the Bears over the Panthers. I mean, Dalton's playing better. He's better than their other Bryce Young. I couldn't think of the name for a minute. He's better than Bryce Young. I think he's going to lead Carolina to some wins. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think it's going to be that. Big B says Bears for the lock.
No doubt.
That's an easy lock, I think. Could be wrong, but it seems to be an
It'll
easy
come
lock.
down to, if the Bears lose, it'll come down to Caleb Williams' fumble, an interception, something he does stupidly, and he's just got to learn from it as a rookie. It'll come down to something like that. I guarantee it. If the Panthers win the game.
Next up, you got Baltimore and Cincinnati. Baltimore in the last 5 games is 4-1. Cincinnati's in a downhill spiral right now. Who do you guys pick, Tim?
I've so been wanting Cincinnati to come out of their shell, but I think you've got the number 1 offense in Baltimore. That's what would make what with Devontae Adams going to Baltimore would be even a bigger move. I think Cincinnati can't get out of their own way. I think at this point, especially on offense. You know, it was nice to see Derrick Henry prove me wrong, because I thought Derrick Henry was, like I think I've said a couple times, where I thought he's lost a step, and now he's leading the league in rushing again. Yeah, it's there's too many pieces missing on the Baltimore defense at this point, because I think I keep thinking I'm going to be honest, I get the Raiders offense, or the Raiders defense, and the Bengals defense confused, because I keep thinking that Max Crosby for some reason plays for Cincinnati. But it's just I like what Baltimore is doing all of a sudden. It's about time. I've got Baltimore in this game, and I think it might be a 10-point game at worst.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. Before we get to you, James, Josh Gardner's down on the field after a big play. I mean, he's sitting up, but he's down.
Oh boy.
So that's the problem for the Jets. Just got pushed with his own teammate. With that, James, who do you pick for Ravens and Bengals?
Sounds like sideline friction or something. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out Carolina right now, but yeah, I'm loving Derrick Henry. 5 touchdowns on the year. He's doing so good. Like I mentioned, I think on the other show, this dude runs like a robot. It's like you can't stop him. He's a Predator prototype, from the movies. He's awesome. I just want him to continue to run. I think Chris Collinsworth had him, compared to Eric Dickerson or Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see the comparisons, and I never really did. I think he's probably a mix of both, but not big thighs like Earl Campbell had, though. That was different. Anyway, I think the Ravens win. They show that they're the superior, in the Bengals. The Bengals, it feels like if you don't win this game, I think you're pretty much out of it. The only, I think, hope is that, hey, you sweep the Steelers somehow. But I think the Ravens go on and win. They're trending the right way right now. So, yeah, I'm going Baltimore.
I'm going Baltimore too. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens at this point is 4-1 against Cincinnati. Even though I don't really call that a stat, but it's a stat nonetheless. Cincinnati needs to get out of a slump. They're in last place in the AFC North. But I got a question kind of. At one point in the season, do you go, well, we're out of the playoffs, no matter what? What do you guys think is that point?
When you're eliminated.
Well, that too. I mean, when you're looking at
it'd be like a
standings,
Dolphins situation when you don't have the quarterbacks and your wide receivers, bitching and moaning, and then you realize you have to trade them. Kind of like the Raiders situation. So maybe that's the answer. It's already over in my situation.
I think the situation is the moment you have lost your 6th game, it's done.
so
I think that's pretty much a given or a shoo-in type of thing.
because I've always wondered that because at some point you're looking at it, it's like they still can make it, but then you're like, I don't know.
You need all these scenarios to happen. These teams need to lose or tie. And believe me, the Raiders, they've been through all these situations before where it's just like, hey, we need all these teams to tie, and we need that one team to win, that team to lose. I think that's what happened last year in order to get in, but there's no way all that was going to happen.
Before I get to Big B's pick, remember that time? I think it was you had to have the Chargers and Steelers to lose or something like that. It was like so. It
was like
complex scenario.
Yeah, I think it was the part where if the Chargers and the Raiders had tied in that game, they both go to the playoffs. But and the Steelers wouldn't have. that was 2 years ago. That was like all of 2 years ago.
That was complicated, but yeah,
that was great.
Big B's picking this one in an upset Cincinnati.
If I knew Big B wasn't at work, I think he'd be drunk already.
I mean, the NFL is crazy. We almost had Tampa Bay winning overtime, but they never got the ball. So
I don't mind that.
Here comes a rule change, probably.
No,
I'm just saying.
It happened before. I don't mind that they don't get the ball. I don't mind that. You just have to stop them. Get the ball.
True. Miami and New England, 2 teams in the AFC East. I don't know who. I mean, I wrote it down, but I don't know who to pick when I made the my choice because Miami's not really good. New England is struggling, but at least New England has 2 okay quarterbacks. So, James, who do you got?
Man, it's weird seeing the Dolphins at 1-3, and the Patriots now being 1-3. I know both quarterbacks. You didn't really want to see this matchup. I know Brissett's kind of on the hot seat to lose his job to Drake May. Maybe there'll be a Drake May appearance, and all week long you heard about Gerard Mayo losing the locker room, according to the podcast of the Patriots. I don't know if I want to believe that, though, but it would seem like that. Dolphins going through their struggles. I think McDaniel's probably on his hot seat, but I think he'll be okay despite the injuries. I'm going to say the Dolphins win. They get back to the running game, and they just throw little routes to Hill and Waddle and make them run. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots had the upset by a field goal. I wouldn't be. But I'm going to go Miami to be safe here.
Miami. All right. Tim.
All right. I got a little breaking news for the Ravens. Odell Beckham Jr. is playing. He's in for today.
Wow. Good.
And Richardson is out. And Richardson is out for the Colts.
Anthony Richardson?
Yeah.
I'd rather see Flacco anyway.
Yeah, I'd rather see. Believe me, I would too. Mostert's coming back for Miami. You still got to. Okay, I understand quotes with the words, "We've got a Pro Bowl quarterback in Tyler Huntley in Miami." I think it's enough. I hope. I think I agree with James that we might be seeing a Drake May appearance today. It'd be a Drake May sighting. I think that should be a long time coming. I think that should have been week 3. But yeah, I got the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins will do just enough to beat New England. I think they rely on A-Chain in this game. Little dump off passes to Hill and Waddle is a good idea. Mid range throws I think would be a great idea. I think if Gerard Mayo has already lost their locker room, what's it going to hurt starting Drake May at halftime or at the beginning of next week? Or I got Miami.
I think you put him in at halftime. Especially if you're behind. Maybe it gives the team a little boost.
Yeah.
But I got a pick set up. But do you think I should go for a tie?
Ooh. That still brings Drake May in.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with New England. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of
Gonna
a
make it your
toss-up.
lock? Gonna make it your lock?
Yeah, we'll go bold. We'll make it my lock.
Don't give in to peer pressure.
I got to pick a team, and the Lions are
No.
on a bye week. Tennessee's on a bye. I think Green Bay's on a bye.
Philadelphia and the Chargers are on byes this week.
Uh-huh. So I had to pick some team. Might as well be New England. I might regret that, but it's all good and fun.
Yep.
Next, the Colts and the Jaguars. Tim, who do you got for this one?
Indy hasn't won in Jacksonville since September 21st, 2014. Not only do I remember this day, I remember this game. I was at this game. That was the first time that Jacksonville had started Blake Bortles in the second half because they were being shut out in this game. Even though no Jonathan Taylor, no Anthony Richardson, which would technically be considered a homecoming for Richardson, playing down the road in Gainesville. I'm proud to say this because last year I took Jacksonville. I'm not going to do that because Jacksonville's a team that can't figure anything out. This team was Super Bowl bound 2 years ago, and all of a sudden, absolutely nothing. And now they've just announced that Evan Ingram's is now considered out for this game.
And Aaron Rodgers is down. Rodgers is down, holding his leg.
But he's old. He needs to have stayed in Argentina. But I'm gonna and I think we have an unwritten rule where we don't take our own team as a lock, especially if they're on a losing streak against the team. But I'm gonna break that unwritten rule and I'm gonna take the Colts against the Jaguars as my lock.
That's tough.
He took a shot. He got rolled up on huge.
And he's walking. James, who do you got before we get distracted?
Yeah, I'm looking at the list of the Colts who are out. Kenny Moore II, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, right there you get the studs on both sides of the ball that are gone. Then you add Richardson, who's out too. Ryan Kelly, the center, is doubtful. That's a laundry list of people.
That's okay. That rookie last week, that rookie center that we had last week held his own. He's a good when we need to replace Kelly later on. I think he's good. He's solid. He's a solid backup.
It's amazing. The Raiders did that too at center. They have this kid named Powers Johnson. That's his last name, but he filled in very well. So that's pretty cool to hear. about the Colts and the Raiders there. But yeah, I think the Jags get their first win. Man, Peterson's seat is hot. I mean, it's been hot since last year. But I think they get the first one. If not, it would be real embarrassing, and then maybe see a coaching change right away. Though I hear that they're waiting till after the 2 London games to maybe make that happen if they go winless. But maybe they do it right away and try to save the season. You give, Trevor Lawrence all that money right away, and there's expectations there. But yeah, I'm gonna go Jags for now.
Rogers
So
is coming back on the field.
yeah, I was just gonna say. So New York had to punt. They did. There's a penalty, and now he's back out there. It's 1st and 10. I gotta see who I picked, but Big B says Jaguars just because.
Just because they're the home team. That's just because.
I think he just didn't know who to pick, so he's like, like the old adage, I'll just pick the home team.
Mhm.
I got the Colts in this one. I think Flacco, like we talked about, is a little better than Richardson, but he can win you some games too. So I think that's going to help a little bit. Cleveland and Washington. Washington probably has the best quarterback of the 2024 season as far as rookies go. And Cleveland had a good start, and they just falling off the wagon with the Bengals. So, Tim, who do you got for this one?
Yeah, it's amazing that I never thought in my life that I'd be saying these words.
You're gonna go with the Browns?
That would be no. You're looking at the Commanders, who have the 6th best offense in the league. Yeah, that's the 6th best offense going against the 10th best defense. I don't think that's going to be the difference. I think the fact is that the offense for the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure. Is Chubb playing today, or is it still Ford?
No, he's out. Chubb remains on the PUP list.
On the PUP list, okay.
He was designated to return Wednesday, but he's ruled out today. So maybe next.
But I like Jaden Daniels. I think this kid's a stud in the making. I've got the Commanders. Again, it's the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns can't figure it out. 1 week they're good, 1 week they're bad, 1 week they're good, 1 week they're bad. Yeah, I've got the Commanders.
James?
Yeah, I'm going to go Washington as well. David Njoku is questionable. It looks like he will play, but he has an ankle injury. But they don't use him enough. And their offensive line is banged up as well. Willis Jr., Coughlin, Hudson is out. So, the protection that Watson wants, he's not going to get. And that's the reason why they lost to the Raiders last week. They were driving, but then the Raiders defense came up clutch because of the offensive line, the guys who were missing for Cleveland. But yeah, Jalen Daniels, I'm not trying to crown him yet, but I love what he's doing with the RPOs and the passing and the running, getting everybody involved on the team. You love seeing when more than 10 players on your offense get passes. You love seeing that. That means you're spreading the wealth around, and I love to see that. And it really wasn't expected. I mean, he transferred from Arizona State, and we heard the news, of course, of Antonio Pierce being there. But Daniel was there at the same time, and it looks like he lost the locker room. So I was wondering how he would do at LSU, but it looks like he grew up there. And, he's really matured, and it's great to see. I know it's only week 5, but you love to see that, and you just hope it continues. And I think it will, winning wise, with Washington beating Cleveland today.
Yeah. Big B has Washington for the win. I do too. And it's kind of interesting hearing the stuff, coming out of Washington, where I think he's using VR technology. They're installing plays for him, to work on that. and then I think it's more of a college offense style.
Yeah, yeah, I love seeing that. Cliff Kingsbury, he knows the offense, the college style offense, and definitely got his revenge the other day, the other game. But
Yeah,
yeah, you love when kind of things are going together. He wanted to do this with Kyler Murray, and it kind of worked a little bit, but then
it
tapered
worked
off.
in this,
Now he's doing that with the with Washington here. It's really cool to see that.
and,
Good
and
point.
I and I think you kind of start that off this year working as a college offense, and then maybe next year in the off season and heading into next season, you work up a little bit more. You work up to more of the pro style offense because right now it's fitting to his strengths, which he needs right now.
Hell yeah.
But then I think every season you work a little bit more into more pro style offense.
Yeah.
Um, Next, you have Buffalo and Houston. Revenge game for Diggs
Hmm.
as he played in Houston. Um, James, who do you got for this one?
You mentioned the thing with the revenge games, and I love them. Sam Darnold is going through one right now, and he's winning that. But
Yeah, but he has to go through a gauntlet of revenge games.
that's true. Um, and he'll get it done. I believe that he already slayed the biggest dragon, the 49ers, earlier. I think in week 2. So that was great to see for him. I'm looking at the Buffalo Bills injured list, and it's a plethora of guys who are out, and it's mostly defensive. Taylor Rapp, Ed Oliver, Austin Johnson, Tyron Johnson. That's going to be the biggest thing. Uh, I think this is my lock. I'm going Houston in a lock.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I think it's going to be a blowout. Stephon Diggs will have at least 2 touchdowns. You got to believe when the schedule came out, and Diggs is always someone that will complain or rant to the quarterback and say, hey, in this game I need 2 touchdowns to prove them wrong. Remember, I think a couple of weeks ago, Josh Allen, after a win or something, said, hey, we have more unselfish guys on the team than we did the last few years. He was taking a little shot at Diggs. So I think Diggs kind of wants his revenge right now, and I think it's going to happen today in Houston. So yeah, I'm going Houston.
um, Tim, who do you got?
I'm going to be the. I'm going to be. This is going to be. I think this is going to be a closer game than James is letting on. Um, and it's good. If it's a blowout, I lose. I'm okay with that. I've got Buffalo. I think this could be the. I think this could be the early showcase of a playoff game, if not the AFC Championship game. I think it's got the potential. Um, I like Buffalo. I think the running game is a little suspect right now with Mixon being out and Pierce being out. I know you got Akers. Um, and I'm gonna and I know it by me making the statement. I'm gonna jinx it by saying Josh Allen hasn't thrown a pick all season. Um, I may have just jinxed Josh Allen. I was kind of hoping
Broadcaster
that
Jinx.
I would have rather jinxed the Josh Allen that plays for Jacksonville, but I don't think I'm going to get that lucky. But I got Buffalo. I think I got Buffalo in a close game.
Um, I think Big B is showing some frustration with his Minnesota Vikings, just a little bit,
It's a little.
which I get. I mean, New York is moving the ball down the field, but it's almost the fourth quarter, so maybe they can pick things up. They are still leading 17-7. No score has been changed. So Big B is also saying that 2024 is the year of the revenge game. But that's every year. I don't know
Yeah,
if
it
it's
can
really
be.
the year of the
This year is
revenge.
multiplied. It feels like though, just because there's been
Why?
so much
Because of Darnold?
quarterbacks that have went somewhere else, and now they gain a chance to play. It
Yeah.
just feels like there's more this year than any time.
Yeah. I'm going Houston on this one, and so is Big B. He's picking Houston. I guess it's a toss up on our picks this week. Looks like Rodgers threw a pass, and it was almost a touchdown, but it was incomplete. Now it's 4th and 8. It looked like the punt or kick the field goal, I should say. Next game, we have your team, James, the Raiders, going to Denver to face the Broncos. So, James, who do you got for this one?
Let me start with the Denver Broncos because there's a laundry list of issues with the Raiders. The Broncos, they are wearing their 1970s, 80s, and early 90s throwbacks. So I
Ooh.
can't
Orange
wait
Crush?
to see that. Yeah, I cannot wait to see that today. I don't know if it'll help them win, but I want to see, if who's their quarterback? Bo Nix, if he has a breakout game against the Raiders. It always seems like that's the case. A rookie quarterback or someone comes in and they have a great game against the Raider defense, who is really, really banged up. And the running game maybe get back to form with Williams. But oh god, the Raiders. Where do I start? Injuries wise, again, Devontae not being there. Max Crosby is questionable, but he's expected to play, but he's not going to be the same. Where's a lot of defensive players out. Running back is out. Zamir White, so that means Matheson will get the start there. Michael Mayer is out for personal reasons. So the Bowers tight end will be starting. Man, it is a you know what show. So the Denver Broncos have never beat the Las Vegas Raiders. So it goes back to 2020. So they're 0-8, I think it is. Yeah, 0-8. I think today though it ends for the Denver Broncos, the losing streak against Las Vegas. So I'm gonna go Broncos. I'll never say the Raiders win ever again. Minshew's gonna have a hard time with that young Denver defense, I think, and they're not going to be able to get anything done. I remember last year it took a heroic effort by Jacoby Myers and Jimmy G. Last year to get the win on Week 1 in Denver, but I don't think it's going to happen this time. I'm gonna go Denver.
Tim?
I've got a question. I've got a question for James since I've got a Raiders guy here. Why are you guys not starting Ado O'Connell?
Yeah.
I think Antonio Pierce just wants to go with experience over non-experience. I mean, that's
Okay.
that was the reasoning in training camp, because the decision was made, I think, after week 1 of the preseason that they would go with Minshew. They believe Aiden O'Connell isn't ready enough to, I think, take the reins. But eventually, we all know about Minshew after 5 or 6, 7 weeks. Okay, we got to see what the other guy has, because you look at Minshew's numbers: 3 touchdowns and 3 picks. That's just like him. He'll have one game where he has 3 touchdowns and one game where he has 3 picks. And then he'll add some garbage, touchdowns later on in that game. So that's bound to happen, and I think it's going to happen today, where you kind of see the bad and ugly of
Right.
Minshew
But no
today.
good, huh? No good, huh?
No.
And the other thing is, and you got Minshew going up against the sixth or the third best defense in the league.
Boom.
He's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna look. I hate to say it, but Gardner Minshew is gonna look like Will Levis, and it's not going to be pretty against this defense. I just on defensive alone, I've got Denver winning this game. It's just this defense is impressive. They're young, they're hungry, and I agree. I think the losing streak against the Las Vegas Raiders is going to end today. I definitely got Denver in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get to my pick, Big B says, "Great question, Tim. Start O'Connell." So my 2 autos gain value. Huh.
If I had
yeah,
if I had that power, or James had that power, we'd both start O'Connell.
I think O'Connell was a better quarterback. He was kind of the hot hand last year, heading in, down the stretch.
Put up
Down the
good
stretch.
numbers. He didn't put up good numbers though. It was just me. He's being a game manager. That's all it was. They don't really have a quarterback that you can put in that philosophy and let it fly. Really, that's why Minshew's starting. That's another reason why, because he can make stuff happen down the field. Aiden O'Connell, he's not able to do that right now. He may never be able to do that right now. So that's the issue with that quarterback room. I don't even know who the third
What?
quarterback is.
Antonio Pierce. I don't know.
Antonio, that'd be weird.
Hey, I've seen other positions.
Oh, you heard about Antonio Pierce this week, or I think it was last week
No.
or this week.
No.
He got banned 8 years to go back to college football.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Can't go back because he did some inappropriate things during COVID. Inappropriate what do you call it? Recruiting violations.
Recruiting violations, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, your third string quarterback in Las Vegas is Carter Bradley.
Who?
Who?
I'd rather have Bill Bradley than Carter Bradley.
Glad I said that. Carter Bradley. He went to Southern Alabama.
Oh, that's why I don't know. Okay.
Jeez.
Sorry, Southern Alabama.
What mascot is that?
But,
It's hard to break your heart.
but besides that backup quarterback situation, I got the Raiders actually in a surprise victory. Hopefully I didn't jinx them, but what?
Hey, might help him.
The look on James's face was priceless.
Don't put money on it.
I don't know. Luckily, no. But I don't think I can gamble here anyway. Cardinals and 49ers. 49ers are at home. I think this should be an easy game to pick, but Tim, who do you got?
I like Jordan Mason. I really like that kid. I didn't think they were going to find anybody to replace Christian McCaffrey, who seems like he's going to be out until November.
Yep.
So glad I had number one picks in two different leagues. I got a nice guy sitting there holding up my IR spot. It's great. This is where a game manager actually works, because he's got all those weapons, and you just need a game manager like Brock Purdy. And I say that, and the guy's in the top 5 in passing. I think as much as people would love this to be Arizona in a upset, I don't see that happening. It's just I like San Francisco way too much in this game.
Yeah, San Francisco, it's a tough team. James?
Yeah, this would have been my lock, but I wanted to go big with Houston. Fred Warner, it looks like he'll be questionable, but he'll play. George Kittle, the same thing. About Christian McCaffrey, he went and got that Kobe look where you go to Germany and you get something you can't get in the U.S., but somehow it's legal with the leagues, I guess. But it'd be nice to see Arizona be competitive in this game. I don't know if it'll happen. My hope is that Marvin Harrison Jr. is able to break free. I know the 49ers have a cornerback out, so maybe they can exploit that a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to go 49ers. Brock Purdy, he's been really good. 5 touchdowns, only 2 picks. And then, Mason has just been amazing ever since that week 1 game. 3 touchdowns. Jennings has been awesome. And guys, I cannot find something. Hold on here. Hold on. Has anyone seen Brandon Ayuk anywhere?
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
looking for him too because he hasn't been on my fantasy team either.
Yeah, he shouldn't be on
I
anybody's
haven't seen him.
fantasy. I'm gonna try to find him because remember we were talking all that about his contract and he wanted to get traded and all this and all that, and he's done absolutely nothing for the 49ers this year. I'm hoping today he has a breakout game, but it looks bad right now for Brandon Ayuk. I just hate that whenever we talk about someone and they get their money and they decide, oh, I got my money, I don't have to play, I don't have to go hard anymore.
Well, it's like I can't remember who it was. He was on the Kansas City Chiefs, a Super Bowl or two back, and they interviewed him, and he's like, how do you feel about this win? And he's like, I did nothing. I was on the practice squad. I didn't get picked up. I was just on the bench. And
That
Was that
Tony?
Kadarius? It sounds like Kadarius
Yeah.
Tony.
That was
I think
Tony.
it was. Yeah.
By the way, I think DeAndre Hopkins, I think there's an outside chance he goes to the Chiefs. I really do.
Ooh.
Because they're desperate to get a receiver.
Yeah.
They're always desperate to pick up, extra pieces.
Well, they need to quit letting their
They don't
quarterback
sign
try to
anyone.
tackle wide receivers.
That was wild. Yeah. Ugh.
That's crazy.
Doesn't that always happen though on the pick, Tim, where either offensive lineman gets hurt or quarterback gets hurt because they have to go on the defense right away?
Yeah,
and they're not used to it.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like the year that Chad Clifton went down because Warren Sapp drilled him on the opposite side of the field. It's because and speaking as an offensive lineman, we don't get our heads around fast enough.
Yeah.
And we get laid out by a defensive end like it's out of. I got laid out horizontal in a game one time because I didn't see the backside cornerback.
Ugh. All I can remember about that too is Warren Sapp saying to Mike Sherman, "Put a jersey on. Put a jersey
on."
Big B is picking 49ers. I'm picking 49ers too. And I think you found the player you're looking for.
I love this comment by Brandon. He says, rather have NBA great Sean Bradley, and I know he had a bike accident, and I just hope he's doing better. I think he's paralyzed, though.
And then he also says he is with Waldo and John Cena. Because you can't see them. Apparently.
And Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I got 49ers too on that one. Next you have Green Bay and the Rams. Rams are at home for this one. James, who do you got for this one?
I'm hoping Green Bay the fans are going to wear green so they can really stand out at SoFi today. Down the 20 minutes from here at SoFi. I'm looking at Jazeer Alexander's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play. We're going to find out later. Christian Watson, though, is doubtful. And that's going to be unfortunate for them. But LA says, hey, no. Don't feel sorry for you guys. They have a laundry list of people out. Kupp continues to be out for the Rams and Nakua as well. He'll be out to at least week 8. But it feels unfortunate. I don't know how the Rams defeated the 49ers week 2 or whatever it was. I think it was week 2. But I don't see that happening. I think Love gets back on track. Love finds its way. I'm going to go Green Bay in this one. I just think the Rams, their offensive line is so banged up as well. Stafford only 2 touchdowns, 2 picks this year. Maybe a breakout game for Josh Jacobs today. He needs that. He hasn't had a good year so far, at least in the end zone.
He had a breakout game against Indy. Did you not watch that game?
I forgot. I didn't see it. But I don't see touchdowns. That's why I'm looking at that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he can get in the end zone this time. Because he got in the end zone a lot with the Raiders. I remember. And it's just shocking he doesn't have a touchdown right now. So yeah, I'll go Green Bay. I expect the home team not having the advantage again at Inglewood.
Before I get to you, Tim, Big B saying Sean Bradley had a bike accident.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it was unfortunate. Somewhere in Utah, probably.
Tim, who's your pick?
Yeah, I've got. I think last week was just Jordan Love trying to shake off the ring rust because he'd out for a little bit. Like you said, James, no Christian Watson. Jair Alexander, I think might go. I'm not sure. They don't have Romeo Dobbs because of suspension. You got the third best offense in the league going up against the 31st best defense. At this point, do I need to say more? I think Green Bay wins because you're just running out of weapons in Los Angeles with the Rams. I think the only thing you've got at this point as a weapon is a Kyron Williams, but even then you're starting to push it because then all you got to do is just key on the running game. Yeah, I've got Green Bay. I think Jordan. I think, like you said, Josh Jacobs. I think gets in the end zone today. I was, to be honest, I was surprised that he didn't get in the end zone in Indy. You know, the majority of the yards that Jacobs got was against Indy, so he's got 329, but he got like 150 in against the Colts. Yeah, I've got the Packers, and this, if I hadn't used the lock on the Colts, I'd have used it on the Packers.
Yeah.
I got the Packers in this one too. Hopefully Rodgers gets Rodgers. It is early, I guess. Jordan Love, and I'm watching Aaron Rodgers, so maybe put 2 and 2, I guess. But Love is probably going to play better. I think he was just a little rusty last week, and he'll pick it back up, this week, and hopefully lead Green Bay to a victory. Another New York team, Giants, are going to Seattle, home of the 12th man, take on the Seahawks. James, who do you got?
Yeah, I remember last year the Giants went to Seattle and they lost as well. New York today, it's going to be unfortunate because Adoree Jackson is questionable. I think we'll see if he plays. But Devin Singletary, he's been really good with the Giants, but he's listed as doubtful. And then Malik Neighbors will be out with the concussion. Remember, he had that last Thursday against Dallas.
Yep.
So he won't be able to play, and I think that's going to be huge. Seattle is just Julian Love on the list that stands out. But I think Seattle wins this game. Geno Smith, he's been able to put up really, really good numbers. DK Metcalf as well. But Kenneth Walker III, he's been really good this year, at least going to the end zone 4 times. He had this tremendous wrestling running play last week or Monday Night Football that was amazing. I've never seen that play before that he had. It was so awesome to see. As my friend who's a Seahawk fan here, he says nothing's ever easy with Seattle though. But I feel like this game it'll be like probably 28-10 or something like that. 27-10. I'm going to say Seattle wins this game, but don't be shocked if Seattle struggles at first.
Jim?
Yeah, I think James has actually watched our show because I brought up Kenneth Walker too. I brought up Kenny Walker. He's, he may not have the yards, but he's got the touchdowns. DK Metcalf. We're talking about a team that's in Seattle who's in the top 10 in both offense and defense against the team that's, not really, really good. I like Malik Neighbors. I think that's really going to hurt. I think that's really going to hurt the Giants. I've got Seattle, and I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be, like you said, a 28-10 game. I think Seattle tends to be slow early. That tends to hurt them, and luckily they're playing the Giants, where they can, you can play slow against the Giants and not have it hurt you. You're in the wrong division though to play slow and then try to play catch up. But yeah, I think it doesn't hurt Seattle this week.
No, it doesn't. Going back to the other game, Big B picks Green Bay. I'm picking Seattle over New York. Divisional rival New York. I don't think. I don't think New York should start Daniel Jones. I don't know who should start for New York, but it's not Daniel Jones.
Drew Lock isn't ready yet, right?
I don't know. And they
I
have
think
that
he's still
other.
injured.
He might be.
Might be ready. Maybe he goes against his former team in which he played last year. Remember, he took over for Smith
That's right.
middle of the season there, I believe.
Big B also picks Seattle over New York. And then also in that London game, Minnesota got 3 more points, so it's 20-10, 2-possession game in that one. A little bit into the fourth quarter, Jets really need to, score if they want to win this. But looks like Minnesota is probably gonna win this matchup.
Luck has played one game this year with the Giants, but that's always an option, I guess.
I guess it was garbage time, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Sunday games, Dallas and Pittsburgh. This is going to be tough. I know Pittsburgh's good. Dallas is getting there.
Well,
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, I think I picked them before they lost that Colts game. They're undefeated at that point. And Pittsburgh, they're like Baltimore in that they're always going to be a tough team, no matter what their record is. And there's always going to be that hatred between Dallas and Pittsburgh fans. So I'm unfortunately picking Pittsburgh. Tim.
Yeah, I was impressed by Pittsburgh last week. I was never a big Justin Fields fan, and then what I saw last week, it seemed like he had matured the moment when he went to Pittsburgh. Much like James is looking for Brandon Ayuk, I think a lot of us fantasy players are looking for George Pickens. It seems like he's been kind of lost too, and I saw him. Yeah, he catches balls, but he again doesn't get in the end zone. Last week had a fumble. That's enough bad things about. And the funny thing is, what was it? Zaire Franklin last week called Najee Harris soft. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news to Cowboys fans. He's going to take that punishment out on the Cowboys this week.
Yeah.
You guys have no Micah
don't have
Parsons.
No Cooks. You don't have no Parsons. You don't have no Lawrence.
It's Dowdle. I have Dowdle. He's on my bench, but I like Fields. Fields is, like I said before, Fields has become a lot more mature. He's taking care of the ball a little better than he did in Chicago. I got Pittsburgh in this game.
James?
Yeah, that Micah Parsons injury might be more serious than led on. I thought he would be back for this game, but he won't be.
He's back after the bye week. We got bye week after this game.
Have to give it another try then, or another week, I guess. But we have DeMarcus Lawrence on IR.
He'll be out for a while.
Yeah, they lost a lot that Thursday game. It seemed like. Brandon Cooks is on IR. Trevon Diggs might play. He's questionable though. Yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh just as long as Fields tries not to do as much, just manages the game. I think he's finally with an organization that you can kind of rely on. I know the Bears are all about defense, but you can actually you actually have someone better now, I think, on the defensive side. TJ Watt is just a monster. Offensive line for the Cowboys, is kind of soft there. I think he's going to have a monster game. TJ Watt,
Yeah,
he's wonderful, and it's hard to block so fast. You just hold him. That's all you can do as an offensive lineman, right? So, yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh. Maybe by 10.
I mean, that's better than what I
If you're
thought.
wondering
But
why I'm making the faces, I just
and
looked at Aaron Rodgers took
and
that sack and it looked like hell.
It was someone
Yeah.
that got like
Yeah,
beat up. I'm trying to remember what quarterback it was this year, but he was really getting beat. It was no, it was a college quarterback. Never mind.
I was gonna say it could have been Tua, but Big
Oh.
B saying, "Did I jinx Minnesota?" No.
Oh, guys, do
I'm
you
just saying
think?
it
Do you
just looked
think?
like very much.
Do you think Russell Wilson will get to play this year for the Steelers, or they're just going to go with Fields
No.
the whole way and ride the hot hand, or at least
I think you're right. That
Ride the
hot
hot
hand.
hand.
Yeah.
because he's still
See,
questionable, but I feel like he's ready to play. But I don't think he
see,
will.
coming into the preseason, I think we had a group chat, and in one of them, and the question was brought up. For Pittsburgh, who do you start, Fields or Russell? I was kind of in the minority, I think, and I picked Fields over Wilson. And somebody said that, well, you don't pay all that money just to sign Wilson and just
Well, no.
not use him.
The Broncos are paying it. The
Yeah.
Steelers gave him the vet minimum wherever he goes.
But
Yeah, you got
still,
the Carson Wentz
but
deal.
still,
Yeah.
but still,
That's
you
why
don't
it's
pay
an easy
whatever they
decision
were
to go with.
paying.
Yeah, it's an easy decision to go with
You go
with
the
Fields, but you
That's
don't have
why
to pay Wilson.
that's kind of how I was thinking. Was like, well, Fields is more mobile than Wilson right now.
Yeah, now he is because Wilson is. We've seen the last couple of years he's been very hesitant to take those runs down the middle of the field. I mean, they have that wire cam, and it was really exposed when he was in Denver, where he has all that open room up the middle, but he doesn't take the first down. He decides to rolls to the right, and throws the ball away. It was little things like that where you can't really trust him anymore.
Yeah, he's making rookie decisions when he's been in the league how many years when he should be when he's doing the exact things that you kind of hope that these young wide receiver quarterbacks do, but these young quarterbacks are finding the hole in the middle of the field to take that easy first down where Russell's going, like you said, rolling to the right, rolling to the left instead of taking the easy yards.
Yeah. So that's kind of that in Pittsburgh. That's it for the Sunday games. Final game. I think this one should be an easy one. There's only one Monday Night Football game this week. I'm kind of glad because it was getting confusing watching or trying to watch two games, but
I hate that.
I know. But luckily they're both, shutouts almost last couple weeks. But this week it's Kansas City hosting against New Orleans. I think we kind of know who's everybody's going, but James, who you got?
Yeah, Derek Carr, I think he's won one game against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs since Pat Mahomes took over. It was 2020 Week 5 up in Arrowhead. Yeah, as a Raider against Pat Mahomes. And they haven't played ever since he went to the Saints. So I think they also played in 2020, these two teams, but it was Winston, I think, playing. No, Breeze was playing for the Saints. Anyway, I gotta go. Taysom Hill is out for the Saints, and he's always that Swiss Army knife that you can really, really rely on. He could do it all, but he's going to be out, and that's going to be unfortunate. Willie Gay, the linebacker, as well, is going to be out, and he's really big back there. Kansas City, I know they have the injuries and all that going on, but you expect they still have enough. I know Hardman's questionable, but I know they've lost a lot. They've lost a lot. Rice, Pacheco, Hollywood Brown. Again, I think they make a move for Hopkins, if not Adams. But I think they still have enough to get it done. This is where if you're the New Orleans defense, you have to key on Travis Kelce. You cannot let him break out and have a great game. But also, this is where you have to have like a change on your defense, where you either go 4-3 and you have more linebackers, so you can get a spy on Mahomes and keep him in the pocket and keep him there, so you can corral him. You know, that quarterback spy is going to go with Kelce along with the safety. So you have to somehow just take those two players out of the game, and then Mahomes will have to do stuff himself, and he's going to have to do it with his legs. That's where you could kind of rough him up. So that's going to be funny or fun to see if New Orleans does that. It's going to be a closer game than usual, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Interception by Minnesota, or New York intercepted the ball from Minnesota. They're looking at it right now. But
I thought it looked like a bounce, but then again, I'm watching a picture about this big. But
I know I had that thought too. Tim, who do you got?
Yeah, I think if you like James says, I think you key on Travis Kelce and you force Mahomes to either run or find Xavier Worthy. I think if you find Worthy, I think this game's going to be wide open. Thing is that I think this game would be a lot closer if Taysom Hill was not hurt. I think that's a big thing for the Saints. With the fact is that Hill is out, I think that makes it you're relying way too much on Derek Carr and that defense to try to just keep you in that game and hopefully keep it close enough to where you can keep it a one possession going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
I like Kansas City. I think this isn't going to be as close as much as we would love it to be close. So where the Saints could have a possibility, I don't think it's going to be that close.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close. I got Kansas City in this one. And I think the last time I picked against the Saints was because of, without their Swiss Army knife being in that out there and being all over the field. I think it really brings them down a little bit because, like you said, James, they're relying so much on Carr. And yeah, he's a good quarterback, but no matter if you're an elite or just a game manager, not that he is, but if you're just one of those regular quarterbacks, you're putting too much pressure on him, and I think it's going to be a struggle. Big B says a Cowboy fan confused watching football, so they are confused all season.
Yo, what? Hey, Chris. Yeah. What'd you think about your owner landing his private helicopter on the practice field and not on a helicopter pad on top of a building? You would think he would have had some like that already, but I had to ask you that.
He does have one. He does have a helicopter pad,
but in the practice facility, why couldn't they land it there?
That is the landing pad. What are you talking about?
The practice field.
The landing pad. That's the only place where touchdowns happen.
He's like, hey, we're gonna air it out this week. Here's a clue. That's the first thing I saw with that. And it's funny. I heard like that's how they do tours of the facility. They literally let people watch them work out. Not shower, of course, but
what?
But I found that out during this week of the tour guides that they give on the facility, where it's like, hey, I know it's the Cowboys, but that's a little too much access.
I haven't done a tour, but I think you can't take pictures. You can watch, but you can't take pictures.
Well, that's think about it. That's like Green Bay, where Green Bay's practices are out in the open. They have open practices every week. So any, and I've been to enough that any Tom, Dick, and Harry could go there with a video camera and video Green Bay's practices because they're open. They're open to the public.
But then think this too, and I know it's not practice, but on NFL Plus you can get the all 32 cams. Like they use for film.
Right.
And kind of watch that too. And some people say, well, that's too much access. I don't know. And Big B's upset about that interception.
It was a close throw, I think. Oh no, he's talking about that because I have him at the 7-yard line, down 10 here with
Yeah.
7:35 to go in the
But
full first
but
and goal.
Minnesota had an interception that led to this point.
Yeah.
So
Delay of game or timeout? Yeah, delay of game.
it was a delay game.
Yeah.
Illegally, of course.
I'm at first and goal at the 7, so
Oh,
Yeah.
with 7:40 and counting.
oh, okay.
But that's our game picks. Take it or leave it. With that, Tim, you got your prime five.
I do, and Bacon was lucky enough to watch me try to unscrew up myself, and and I decided to go with the. It's the way too early to pick the offensive rookie of the offensive rookie of the year.
Ooh.
If you've watched my show, basically anybody in the world should know who my number one is at this point. But my number 5, I've got Caleb Williams. It's tough because to me there hasn't been that many rookies that have stood out, but the 4 that are above Caleb Williams have stood out. I saw Caleb Williams play against Indy. He impressed me a lot. He's got a lot of maturing to do, but yet he's ahead of where Bryce Young was last year at the same time. I like the kid. I think the kid's going to be a star, but not anywhere as close to the star as my number 1. My number 4, it's still, to me, I can't believe that Kyler Murray doesn't understand that he's the guy that gets the receivers the football.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Marvin Harrison Jr. This kid is growing up and is becoming a stud right before our eyes. I think the kid has got a lot. He's got a lot of his dad in him. I think he learned a lot about how to run routes like his dad did, but he's learned a lot about how to be a little bit more like a combination between Marvin and Reggie Wayne. I think he's a good combination of the two. My number 3, it's a pity that he's got a concussion, but I've got Malik Neighbors. I think this kid's the only star right now in the Giants organization. It's terrible that he's hurt. I think he's truly living up to his number 5 pick. I think this kid's going to be something else. My number 2, I'm going to see a lot of today, and it seems like every time I look at stats of the Jacksonville Jaguars, this kid's name keeps showing up, and it's absolutely phenomenal to watch. The fact is, I got to see him twice a year. It makes it suck a lot more. But I've got the wide receiver from Jacksonville, Brian Thomas Jr. This kid is going to be – I think this is the best wide receiver class I've seen in a while. But my number 1, when you look at the Washington Commanders last year, it seemed like they couldn't figure things out, and then they go out and pick up Jaden Daniels. I think this is the best quarterback in this draft. I think this is the best quarterback. But then again, we haven't seen J.J. McCarthy. We haven't seen Drake May yet. Bo Nix is just kind of starting, and I still think there's a little too much hype behind Caleb Williams. But I got Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is an absolute stud. He's made the Commanders a 3-1 team this early in the season. I know he could fall off, but he's got an amazing head on his shoulders. So that's my way too early for this season, but
I mean that's a good list, James. What do you think?
I was loving Mabers. Like Tim mentioned, he was like their only weapon, and it was looking bad in training camp because even the ball machine was throwing the balls down to the ground, and the neighbors couldn't reach him. And I thought, man, if the ball machines aren't working, imagine what Daniel Jones can't do. And so I'm happy he put up stats before that concussion he had against Dallas on Thursday. But yeah, I think it's a clear, obvious number 1 with Jalen Daniels. That it's just simple. He's like we talked about, Chris, where he's just being catered to his style of a college offense, and it's working right now. Eventually, the mobility will go away, and you won't be as good to run, and eventually you're going to have to learn how to throw from the pocket. But right now, you're having a breakout year. You just keep it going. I think everybody probably had Caleb Williams being number one in that list, but he isn't as advertised. I think he's learning that where, can't fumble the ball, he can't throw turnovers. He's having trouble with fumbles, especially. But I think everybody had Caleb Williams, and you don't want to go with the trend. You want to go with what's happening actually on the field. And despite the Bears getting all those weapons for him, it all starts with Caleb, and that was really unfortunate to see him not be as good. Maybe he'll break out, maybe he won't. It'll just be the continual curse of a quarterback for the Bears. But I'm loving what Daniels and Neighbors is doing. Oh, and by the way, you mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr. I hated how week 1 went, where I only had 1 catch for 5 yards. And then guess what? They ramp it up in week 2 against Los Angeles, and he has 2 or 3 touchdowns, and he was amazing. So I loved that they went back to him, and I'm hoping he has another breakout game because Arizona needs that. And I'm hoping he gets a couple of touchdowns today against the 49ers, but we'll see what happens. So I was hoping Harrison Jr. would be great, and at least one game he showed it this year.
He'll get there. It's just going to take time to, to get to that point. He's a rookie, but I think the experience with his dad is going to help a lot. Being around that pretty much all of his life, so it's kind of a wait and see with all these rookies, and maybe in a couple weeks, we'll revisit this and see where we're at. Maybe towards Thanksgiving or something. We'll come back to it and see where we think. Cause I think that's probably the point where you kind of have it under lock. Wouldn't you say, around Thanksgiving?
Yeah. I agree with that.
And at that point too, you'll know who's in the playoffs. I think too, around week 6, week 8, you kind of know who's probably in the playoff picture.
It's just amazing seeing Washington in top of that division. Philly struggling and Dallas struggling.
Even though Dallas is in second, but we're struggling a lot. It doesn't look like it on in the standings, but you look at the injury report and
right. That's what I was about to say about Dallas. Yep.
Yeah. With that, any final thoughts? Any final injury reports?
Let's see. I've got nothing.
I know this is an NFL show, but I missed out on yesterday's college football action. But we had a plethora of upsets yesterday, including
football show in general,
including my Trojans losing number 11 over or against at Minnesota. Just uncharted territory for them. I knew that would happen with the Big Ten, but UCLA lost to Penn State, and it looks like they got ran over. I know it wasn't an upset, but it looked really bad. But yeah, number 1 Alabama lost, number 4 Tennessee lost, number 9 Missouri, number 10 Washington lost to Michigan, and it just shocked me seeing Alabama lose in the way that the fans took the goalpost and threw it in the river in Nashville or wherever it is.
We're going to take the money out of your tuition to pay for this goalpost.
Yeah, I was just amazed by that. And it was good, though, because I remember the comments Nick Saban made, how he said, Vanderbilt, it's easy to play there. And we have most of our fans, travel there to make it our home game. And it's just funny how this year they go to Vanderbilt and Bama loses. I know it's not Saban coaching anymore, but it's just funny how that you give bulletin board material and it just hits you. It kind of hits you in the back and stabs you in the back. So I was just amazed by college football. Last week with Bama and Georgia, that was an all-timer. I remember trying to hold our composure in while we were doing On Deck, Chris. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was amazing. So
Yeah, we were
to
watching.
be
We were
honest with
watching the game. We were watching that game doing on deck, and
you, hell yeah.
yeah, it was
I
going back and
you know
forth.
what's funny that I've been watching more college football, I think, than NFL football this year. I've been closer to college this year, and maybe it's the Raiders, falling apart. But yeah, I'm interested in all these the old Pac-10, 12 teams going to the Big Ten and how they'll do. So I've been watching that closely, intensively. So, I've been enjoying college football, I think, more than the NFL. NFL's had a bunch of injuries as well. That kind of hurts.
How's your college team doing, Tim?
I couldn't tell you, but I can give you a look.
I thought you were.
I'm a Gator fan, so it tells you anything. I've been paying attention a lot more to TCU. I know you and I've had the conversation about
Yeah.
TCU being where my dad went to school. We beat UCF yesterday. Yesterday. Yeah, we beat UCF. We beat Mississippi State. The problem is we beat the two big teams that we were going to give us a tough time with. We lost to Miami by a whole heck of a lot, and then we lost at A&M. I don't want to see next week's game because we got Tennessee, and Tennessee just losing to Arkansas is going to be a crocky talk game that I don't want to be a part of.
Well,
They'll be pissed.
Longhorns are going to Dallas to take on Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry.
I want to see that
Red
game.
River Shootout. I won't be at the game, but I'll be at the fair, so I'll be in range of it.
We'll be in the parking lot drinking beer.
Yeah. So all around the OU fans. So with that, any final thoughts?
No, just stay tuned to C2C. Watch all the great shows that we've got. Are you guys doing a recap of Bad Blood, or did you do that last night?
No, we're doing it tonight.
Okay.
We're gonna do like a big thing, I think, of all the news stories.
Okay. We've got. Have they announced where the PLE is for Italy yet?
No.
No. Okay. Well,
I can look it up though later.
No, it's not. It hasn't been announced. I looked it up today, so I haven't missed anything. Check out Big B and I on Tuesday for Rankum, Wednesday for the fantasy couch fantasy zone. I go through this a lot better than Brandon does because we've gotten to the point where he'll screw it up one week, I'll screw it up another, and then I will be back here with you two for Morning Tailgate next Sunday.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun week. James,
I'm gonna miss this setup. This chair is comfortable as hell.
Steal it.
I got monitors here. I got the headphones and the microphone, and it's amazing here. I can't thank my friend enough. Let me use the studio. Yeah, watch all the C2C programs. Monday will be C2C at night with me and Callum McClurg. Tuesday, I think Game Night will come back on. Wednesday Sports Minute, Thursday Kicking It and On Deck, and then Friday Entertainment Hour. We had a fun entertainment hour on Friday. That was unexpected too. I have a dilemma on Tuesday. I'm trying to figure out what to do. So in my hometown, the Clippers are coming for an exhibition game, or do I go to the Padre Dodger game, game 3? I'm so torn of what to do.
If you get tickets for the playoff games, go to the playoff game, dude.
Yeah,
that's right.
No preseason.
Because my team, the Angels baseball team, you see behind me, they now have the longest streak of missing the playoffs at 10 years. The Tigers went in, so they are, they don't have that distinction anymore. It's the Angels. So I forgot what baseball, playoffs feel like, even though we covered it on deck. But yeah, and I forgot the division series is 5 games. I totally forgot about that too. So
yeah, we brought that up too. Like, Is it 7 or 5?
I
I couldn't remember.
just forgot because it's been a decade plus. Hey, by the way, if y'all saw my pictures, I was out with some at a bowling event with some Angel players, and I really wanted to ask them like hard hitting questions, but I didn't want to do that and make it awkward. So I had
Are you
fun.
going to be in this team again this year?
Y'all gonna suck again? So I don't have to
What's it feel like not having Otani on your roster anymore?
crap. Like, did y'all bet on games this show?
Did you,
Do you miss Otani?
has the manager asked any of you to play two-way, like play pitcher and outfield or anything like that?
Are you elite baseball players?
Yeah. There was also after that I went to play Field of Dreams. They have like those softball fields, but they're made up in the background that look like old ballparks. So I went to experience that, and that was really cool. But I woke up sore today, pretty much everywhere. Well, almost everywhere. But woo, that was good. Wake up and have football this early. By the way, I think this is the only good international game we have. The rest of them are Carolina, New York, 2 Jacksonville games.
Well, next Sunday morning, it's going to be the Jaguars and the Bears.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'll have it in the background, but I'm not. I'll do the show, of course.
And then the following week, it's the Patriots versus the Jaguars.
Ugh.
Yeah, and then we don't have another one until
Germany.
Yeah, I believe so. But it's Germany's Carolina, and I think Carolina and New York.
We're not sending our best over there, that's for sure.
That's for bloody sure. Well, we did, and it was today's game.
Yeah. But with that, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. Enjoy your football morning and afternoon, evening. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll be back for another edition of Morning Tailgate. With that, enjoy football.